Do you want to start by giving me a little overview of what your job is, so what you do overall?
I work as the coordinator for the Link department at YAI. So Link stands for Linking Individuals to Necessary Knowledge. So what we do is we're the information referral resource for the entire YAI network. So typically what we do is we respond to inquiries from families, professionals, and the people we support in regards to a whole range of different things, what services they might be in need of, general information, explaining the OPWDD system, so explaining what the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities does, how to get eligibility with them. We review evaluations for people. Typically, we get about 400 inquiries a week. So that's kind of like the main part of my job. In addition to that, we also run some programs out of my department. So we run programs including our independent living skills program, which is for adults 18 and up who are interested in learning a wide variety of different topics. We also have some social skills group, a ballet yoga program that we run in Brooklyn, as well as some programs for 17 to 21-year-olds here in Manhattan.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. So now you've created this database for with informations about COVID-19. So who came up with that idea?
It really started from just getting a lot of information from a lot of really good meaning people who are sending us resources directly related to COVID. So typically on a normal day in Link, we have what we call our IDD resource library, which is where we keep information that's just general knowledge that would help somebody who has an intellectual or developmental disability. Things like links to different resources at libraries, different benefits packages, things like that, so that they can kind of research and understand different resources that are out there. Once COVID began, we started getting a lot of information that people were like, can you add this to your resource library? And what we realized is adding it to the resource library was going to make it really difficult for families to find it. So we started adding it to a page, but the page became really bogged down. The page was huge. And so it became, again, tedious to look through. So the wonderful Kathleen Beckler, who works partially in my department and partially in communications, she actually went ahead and created a database where we could enter all this information that we were getting. And it's been growing from there. Pretty much every day we're getting at least one or two, sometimes even more resources to add to that page. So linksters who work in my department will go through, look at these different resources, determine if they're going to be useful for the people we support, how to kind of categorize them so that they're easy to search for the people that are looking at that database.
Okay, and who decided like which resources to include? And can you give me like an overview of what kind of resources you have in this database?
So we have a lot of different ones. So there's a couple of different categories. We have everything from like entertainment, so information on different zoos and aquariums that are doing like online viewing of their animals, all the way to these are emergency resources for accessing food. These are emergency resources for accessing financial help, information on just updates that the government is giving that are specific to people with IDD, as well as just to the general population. In terms of who kind of came up with the idea, it was really, I would say, kind of a brainchild of a couple of different people. Kathy definitely was the one who did a lot of the infrastructure work. In terms of determining what goes up there, a lot of times it's people sending us the information, but then a linkster, so somebody who's an information specialist or supervisor in the Link department is really reading through it and deciding, what does this mean to somebody? Is this something that's useful for our population? Should this resource replace another one? Maybe there's outdated information and this is an update. So every single day, the linksters are reading through the new information that's coming in, determining how it should be categorized, how to put it up there, what age groups it applies to, what kind of category. Is it an entertainment resource? Is it an app? Is it a mental health resource? Categorizing it so that it's easy for families and professionals to really look through it and find it quickly.
And are these resources somehow tailored to like people with specific disabilities, or like for pretty much everyone, disabled, non-disabled?
Yeah, a lot of the resources could be used by anybody. We do try and highlight those that are specific to the IDD community. Mm-hmm. There are some resources that specifically say this is for somebody diagnosed with autism, but in reality, A mindfulness app is useful for anyone who's able to get into the app. A lot of these social stories could be used with any age of child or any diagnosis. So although it might say specifically that's for somebody with autism, it doesn't mean that somebody who doesn't have autism is able to find it helpful.
And how about accessibility? Did you have like a specific concept in mind so that like the whole database is accessible for everyone?
So we're trying to keep the language to typically around like a second grade level. So when we're describing the information, we want to keep it pretty basic. We do actually have an entire category that is just Espanol. So those are all resources that are either in Spanish or that we've been able to translate into Spanish. So one of my colleagues, Mara Enriquez, she is our Spanish linkster. And so she has been doing a lot of work translating. This is what this means, reading those resources that are specifically in Spanish to make sure that we're catering to that population, that they have the same access as an English speaker and English person.
There was a lot of criticism like around government efforts that didn't quite include people with disabilities. So was this somehow a motivation for you to create this database?
I mean, definitely, yeah. We really want to make sure that people with IDD and their families are supported in this. There's so much going on right now, and it's really overwhelming. And then when you add into it the fact that somebody is either a person with a developmental disability or supporting somebody with a developmental disability, it compounds upon that and makes those stressors more difficult. It makes explaining COVID even more difficult. So trying to find those resources that help break it down into language that somebody's going to understand, and helping those parents and caregivers stay mindful and help it reduce their anxiety, of course, always helps the people that we support. So we want to give them all the resources we can so they stay calm and therefore are better able to serve the people that we are helping